Assalamu alaikum, Bokai. Welcome back to the Jello Football Bantabai YouTube channel. It's your boy Chama for another midweek recap of Gambian foreign-based players. It was a monumental week for Gambian foreign-based players, especially in the Champions League, which we are here to discuss with you guys. But if I dore moya, I will go to Nakago here. Big Sam. Yeah, can you guys remember Big Sam? Victory for history tomorrow. So we can live in sorrow. Me and my crew in the supporting side. Ole, 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 ola. So my guy, let me cut it there. Man suma way bi suma way hejut fii nii suma way hejut fii xam ngeen rek mooy loolu so balaa maa dawloo audience yi bàyyi ma dog way bi foofu noonu daal but I had to mention victory for history because this week is a monumental week. Like I say, it's a historic week for Gambian footballers. In the Champions League, we have seen what happened. I'm sure everybody who's watching already know that is how people are into Gambian football at this moment in time. So everything that happened, I'm sure all of you guys know. So I'm just here to bring it together, everything that happens over the course of midweek, in terms of Champions League football, in terms of Europa League football, in terms of European Conference League football, and all other leagues. Like in England, there were some games going on there. So I will just bring it for you guys, summarize everything that has transpired as far as Gambian footballers are concerned over the past midweek. Yeah. So we start with the history, guys. With the history, as you guys know, I will always love to start with Yankuba Minte, but I'll be very unfair if I start today's show with Yankuba Minte. So today's show starts with Ibrahim Koli. Ibrahim Koli became the first ever Gambian footballer who played in the Champions League and scored a goal. That is monumental. That is huge. That is historic. Playing in Champions League in the past was not something that we look forward to as Gambian football fans because we usually don't see many Gambian players. It was very rare to see a Gambian footballer playing in the Champions League. So for us to be talking about Gambian players scoring goals in the Champions League, that is massive. That is huge, and it is a proud moment for Gambian football at large. And I can, if we the fans are as proud as we are seeing our Gambian brothers doing those things in the Champions League, I cannot imagine how proud they are for themselves, especially Ibrahim Akoli, for being the first player in Gambian football history to score a goal in the Champions League. And it was a good goal with his left foot, I'm even happier it is a left foot because I love left footers and all whatnot. So it was monumental, even though they lost the game 3-2-1. Yes, of course. As a football guy, if you are supporting the team or the first thing you have to look at is the results. But here, as Gambians, we look at the players' performance, the players playing, and Ibrahim Akoli and Janko Sedi were involved in that game. They lost the game, but Ibrahim Akoli scoring that goal was big, was massive for young boys, even though it was not enough to help them qualify for the subsequent round of the Champions League. They still qualify for the Europa League. They will be playing Europa League in after the turn of the year. So they are still in Europe, but they are out of the Champions League. E-Boy scored a goal for young boys in about the 56th minute, and then they later lost that game 2-1. Another thing that is important to note is there has never been a case until that night that two Gambian players are playing in the same Champions League match. That is the first time ever. There was a lot of history going on this week. That's why I had to bring in Big Sam. Victory for history. This was the first time ever in Gambian football history that two Gambian international players, were playing in the same Champions League game. So that is another, historic moment for Gambian football. And then you look at the performance of the players. Sedi Janko completed in that game 6 dribbles in that game. He completed the most dribbles of any player in that game. He won 10 duels. Like, he's in top form. He's in a very good form. Since moving to Switzerland, he has been in very good form. And yeah, I think we all saw that when he came to the international scene, the confidence he showed in his performance, even though Gambia lost the game against Ivory Coast, but he showed a very confident performance and a very mature performance. You could see that this guy is a player who is on form. So he's one of those players we can count on during the African Cup of Nations. I know he always, there's always a lot of noise around him because of sometimes he does not come. Sometimes he comes to play for the national team. But according to Coach Tom, it was all based on if he's gonna play and he's not gonna play, which is understandable from both sides. Yeah. But to see him being in a very good form in the Champions League is a very good thing, and it like just shows you that he deserves to be there and he deserves to be playing. He deserves to be starting for the national team, which is what he has been always yearning for. So actually, the young boys are going to the Europa League, and then the next one we'll talk about, guys. My boy, Yankuba Minte, our boy. Because like I cannot own him alone, because I'm sure every Gambian, this boy is on the lip of every Gambian football fan, on the lip of every football fan in the world, Newcastle fan, Feyenoord fans, even Liverpool fans. I'm hearing them talking about Yankuba Minte, like, because I follow Liverpool I follow Liverpool a lot. I can see Liverpool fans or Liverpool journalists talking about Yankuba Minte. So he's everywhere. This kid is everywhere. And this week, what he did was, okay, just score in the Champions League, guys. Let me just score in the Champions League. Ibrahim Okoli had just scored in Champions League 3 hours earlier. Okay, let me just follow suit and do the same thing. And exactly that's what he did, guys. He came on in the second half. He was on the bench. Came on, introduced around the 54th minute for Feyenoord. They were losing 1-0. Came on, and then the boy scored his first ever Champions League goal, which meant he became the second Gambian ever after Ibrahim Okoli 3 hours later. He cannot even let Ibrahim Okoli enjoy his, I'm the only Gambian to score in the Champions League for long. And Yankuba Minte just, followed that up with another goal, which also Feyenoord, they lost the game 2-1 in the end. They lost in the 97th minute, but it has no implication on what was to happen for them, because they have already accumulated enough points to be ahead of Celtic, so they qualify for the Europa League. Unfortunately, they are out of the Champions League as well, but they are going to the Europa League. So Yankuba Minte's goal meant he is the youngest Gambian ever. Yes, because he's the second Gambian and he's young, 19 years, 144 days, to score in the Champions League. Also, he's the youngest player from Feyenoord to score in the Champions League since Wijnaldum, former Liverpool midfielder, did so, like I cannot remember when he did so. So now, Yankuba Minte is the youngest player to hold that record for Feyenoord, and it will be difficult to break it, I'm sure. Let's see how it goes. So that was it for the Champions League, guys, for Gambian international. But also, I will just jump into Manchester City a little bit, talk about some Gambian players there. We saw Oscar Bob. He has Gambian descent. He's a Gambian descendant, but he has chosen to represent Norway. Unfortunately for Gambia, maybe Haaland convinced him. Haaland at Manchester City convinced him to go to Norway. But from what I heard, Gambia did try to convince him to come to Gambia, but the boy did not want to come. He scored his first Champions League goal as well. So if he was to be a Gambian, let's say, if he wasn't technically a Norwegian, but yes, we still can celebrate that aspect of him, even though we know we will not benefit from his footballing, abilities and stuff like that. But maybe he can come to the Gambia. Usually sometimes these players, when they grow bigger, they want to go back and give back to their heritage or something like that, give back to their where they come from, or stuff like where their dad come from. So hopefully, even though he might not contribute in Gambian football with his football, he might contribute in another way for Gambian football. We hope so. He scored his first Champions League goal. That was beautiful to see. And another player in the same game, Mahamadou Suso, that is another young player who, of course, he has the option to play for Spain. He has represented them at under 17 level, at under 21 level, if I'm not wrong. He has already represented Spain at youth level. Let me just say it like that. He has represented Spain at youth level already. He made his competitive debut for Manchester City. He has played for them in the under 17s, under 21s, under 19 UEFA Youth League. He even scored against Young Boys, that is Ibrahim Okoli and Seydi Jankos Young Boys earlier this season in the UEFA Youth League, that is the Champions League, the youth one, under 19s. He scored there, and he played 15 minutes. That was his first game under Pep Guardiola. So, any player who went under Pep Guardiola and have Gambian descent, I think we should do everything possible to bring him on board. He's a very good kid. This season too, he even scored against Arsenal. They played Arsenal in the under 23s, in the under 23, under 21s or under 23s in England. In the Premier League Youth League, he scored against Arsenal in a game they drew 3-3. He's another player we can tap into. Like, You know, guys, maybe I should make a video of Gambian players with Gambian half players. Let's say like Gambian half players that can represent Gambia or represent another country. Let's just see the number. Let's just see like these players. There's a lot of them. There's a lot of untapped talent. Just yesterday, I was talking to Gamscopes about that. He said, yeah, we should. I say I hope our authorities can take this thing a little bit more serious because there's a lot of untapped Gambian talents out there. Half Gambian, half something. You know, there are many. We need to try to find a way. We need to create the platform for these players to be willing to come and represent Gambia. There are many. So we should use this opportunity. Like, for me, as far as I am concerned, I just want to see the best players play for Gambia. As long as you have some Gambian in you, it does not matter. I want to see the best players play for Gambia. I want Gambia to progress as high as possible. So, yeah, if you're not the best, for me, yeah, football is about competition, so you have to compete to be in your position. That's my take personally. I'm not gonna be like, oh, these people are not committed to Gambia. I can understand why they are not gonna be 100% committed to Gambia because they were not born in Gambia. They were not raised in the Gambia. Gambia did not feed them. All they had was their parents, their mom or their dad being a Gambian, and then giving birth to them in a different country. So they have two options. At the end of the day, Gambia cannot take all the love from them. It has to be shared, and then we have to accept that. And then we try to do our due diligence to make sure we convince them to come and play for us. And that is by creating a platform for them where it is easy for them to come and play for us. And that is all we have to do, and then hope. That's it. If they decide to go the other way, we should not have any, hard feelings for them. We should understand that and then just move on. So, like I say, Oscar Bob, Mohamed Susoho, if they were both Gambians, maybe that would have been the second game where we have two Gambians playing in the same game because they both played for Manchester City under Pep Guardiola. So imagine this kind of players having them in the national team for Gambia. It will be massive, especially under 20. I think they should have considered them for the under 20. I don't know if they did, but they should have been considered for the under 20, the recent under 20, because they are playing at this highest level. So if you convince them to join you at youth level, maybe it's easier to convince them at the higher level. But once they hit the height, and then you want to convince them, it is quite difficult. So you have to have a strategy in place. And I hope our football authorities in the Gambia are thinking about these things. How can we do this? How can we do that? These are the things you have to think critically and see how we can progress the football of Gambia. I've been rambling on these things, but maybe someday, yeah, it depends. It depends on my feeling. One day, and then let me know in the comments, guys, if you think I should make a video on, Gambia foreign-based players or Gambia half players, then let me know. I'll be happy to do that. Yeah. Another player who is also half is Alexander Bah. He played for Benfica, but this week he has been injured for a while, so he was also involved in the Champions League, just to mention his name, And then now we move on to the Europa League. We start in the Europa League. Lask, they lost their game 2-1. Ibrahim Adabo was on the bench on youth sub. They lost. Lask are now out of the Europa League. They're out of Europe in total because they finished bottom of their group. They were in the same group as Liverpool, Toulouse, and that Belgian team. Yeah, I forget the name. Hackens, they lost their game 2-1. They are also out of Europe. Molamin Sonko played in that game. Another player, half Gambian, which, who we should try to convince. Liverpool are now talking about signing this player. We have seen those rumors recently. He was at Liverpool for a trial when he was 12, 13. Now Liverpool have, Liverpool, they keep track of these kids from young. So they are now interested in him. I'm not surprised by it because he's a talented player. If you watch him play, he's a talented player. Another player I hope we can have in the Gambia because of his talent. Slavia Prague, they won 4-0. They topped their group ahead of Roma. Actually, Roma finished second. Jose Mourinho's Roma, Slavia Prague. But our boy Srivsian was not involved because he was not registered for the Europa League. Because if you can remember, guys, he was injured at the start of the season. And usually teams have the options to register the number of players they want for these European competitions. And Srivsian was not registered. You look at AEK Athens in Greece. They lost to Ajax. They are also out of Europe. Lamarana Diallo, one of the very interesting players from the under 20 Matar Mboch under 20 team, who was one of the best players during that time. He plays for AK Athens, but unfortunately for him, he's finding it very hard in Greece. He's yet to make his competitive debut with them. They are out of Europe. And then you go to Czech Republic. Republic, Sparta Prague again. They won 3-1. They progressed to the next round of the Europa League. They finished they finished second in their groups. James Gomez was an unused sub in that one. Storm Grass, CD Jata, they lost 3-0. CD Jata started. So they finished third in the Europa League group, so it means they dropped to the European Conference League. CD Jata, over the weekend, he just scored a very good goal for Storm Grass. Next is the Europa Conference. The Europa Conference League, we start in Genk, Belgium. They won their game 2-0, but it was not enough for them to avoid elimination in the European Conference. They ended up with 9 points, and then second place, they ended up with 10 points. So they are out of Europe altogether, even though our boy Aliou Fadera got his assist. That is his first assist in the European Conference League this season. He was actually substituted before halftime because they had a red card, and I think the coach wanted to a fixed order position, and then he had to be sacrificed. Aliou Fadera was sacrificed for that one. Bulgaria, Ludogorets, they won their game 1-0. They progressed to the European Conference League next round. So they are going to the knockout stages of the European Conference League. Noha Sonko played 90 minutes as usual. He's a regular in that team. He is one of their key players. Played 90 minutes. They kept the clean sheet, back-to-back clean sheets in December. He kept one again over the weekend in a very important game against CSKA Sofia. That is Seni Sanyang CSKA Sofia. Astana, they lost 3-0, eliminated. They are also out of the European Conference League. Dembo Dabo played the whole 90 minutes in that one. Dembo Dabo is another interesting player. I think just recently somebody mentioned his name. He is not even being mentioned now when it comes to the national team. And, he's a player competing in European competitions, playing regularly for Astana. We see our players. Of course, we love all the players. We have Gambia and stuff like that. For example, I just checked before I did this. Before I was preparing for this video, I checked in Saudi Arabia. Al Hazem we are playing. That is Mohamed Badamosi. Even though he's crucial for the national team, especially his goal and assist that he got that sent us to the African Cup of Nations for the second time running. I think for that he kind of get his ticket to go to Ivory Coast, regardless of what he's doing at club level. But if you look at his team now, he has lost his place because, to be honest, he's not doing much there, to be honest with you guys. Since he moved to Saudi Arabia, he only scored 2 goals. The first goal was his first goal when he scored that wonder goal against Al Nassr in the first game he played. Since then, he only scored 1 goal, and that is a long time, guys. That is a long time, because that was in August, around in August. Now we are in December. So from August to December, Badamosi has only scored 1 club goal for his team. But like I say, he is one of the babies. So, and of course, he rightly deserves to be there because it was his goal that sent us to the African Cup of Nations. But, for me personally, I would put that out of the way when it comes to sentiments. Personally, that's my own personal opinion. But I know the coach will not do that. So, for me personally, it's always about who's playing best when we are going to the competition. So, like I say, football is about competition. It does not matter. It does not matter what the name is. It's about competition. It's about competition. If you are at the best of your game and doing better than others in a particular position, I think I have to give you the chance. And sorry to say to Badamosi fans, but that's my take there. That's my take. We see players like Ali Sow here and there, So there are striking options, but it seems we already know who will be in the plane to Ivory Coast. So that's the thing with Gambia. And then next we go to England. There are some games there. FA Cup replay for Stockport. They lost the game 1-0. Ibu Toure played the whole game, so unfortunately they are not going to progress to the third round of the FA Cup, where the Premier League teams will come in and then join the competition. Cardiff City also, they lost in the Championship 1-0. Ibo Adams again was back to the bench. He was an unused sub in that one, guys. Yeah, that was the midweek recap as far as we are concerned. Another thing, guys, you guys saw that on our socials we have posted for Player of the Year, Scorpions Player of the Year. We have nominees. Captain Omar Colley is there, Yankuba Minte is there, Ibu Toure is there, and Ibrahima Diadio Stek, who also we keep questioning. Why is Stek not in the national team? Because he is exceptional for his club. One of the best goalkeepers who is playing for his clubs. But yeah, again, it's a choice by the coach, and we cannot do much about that. Those were the 4 nominees for Player of the Year in terms of their performance at club level, how they did over the course of 2023. You guys get on the votes. You can vote by commenting. You can vote by, by putting your vote in the polls. We will count every single poll. That is in collaboration with my brother, Buba Jalo Falabowe. We do that one. And at the end of the year, of course, we will give you guys, by the end of the year, we'll give you guys the Player of the Year, Scorpion Player of the Year. And of course, hopefully we will have something for that particular player. Guys, this was the midweek recap. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you do, please give us a thumbs up and give us your thoughts in the comments. What do you think? Should I bring that video I'm telling you about? Half Gambians? Should we talk about them? Or is it something that is a lost cause that we don't need to, dwell over? Yeah, let me know. Whatever you want, guys. I will bring it for you guys. This is the Gambia football. This is the Jollof Football Bantaba, the home of Gambian football. Watch out for more. The space is back this Friday. The Gambia Football Show is back this Sunday. So stay tuned, guys. And we will be back soon. Goodbye.